What an absolute nail-biter. The air was thick with tension. The stakes couldn't have been higher. And for the New York Mets, every single pitch against the Miami Marlins was a battle for survival. We're talking about the regular season's final breaths, folks, and the Mets were staring down an almost impossible challenge. Could they defy the odds? Could they rise above a season of inconsistency and deliver when it mattered most? Get ready, baseball extra fans, because today we're reliving a game that truly had it all, a must-win showdown that will be talked about for years to come. Did the New York Mets secure their playoff hopes, or was this the heartbreaking end? Let's break it down. Welcome back to Baseball Extra. As we jumped into this crucial matchup, the weight of the entire season rested squarely on the Mets' shoulders. This wasn't just another game. It was the game, with the Reds breathing down their necks in the wild card race and holding the tiebreaker. The Mets had to win. A loss here, combined with a Cincinnati victory, and their playoff dreams would vanish into the Florida night. We've seen a roller coaster season, haven't we? Moments of brilliance mixed with stretches of struggle, from pitching woes to hitting slumps and defensive miscues. But now, with their backs truly against the wall, there was no room for error. Every play, every at-bat, every pitch had to be perfect. The challenge was immense, facing one of the Marlins' aces, Yuri Perez, a pitcher known for his sharp stuff and ability to dominate. This wasn't a warm-up. This was a playoff caliber test right out of the gate. And if you're the Mets, seeing Perez, followed by Alcantara and Cabrera in a season-ending series, is like running into a brick wall made of Cy Young candidates. But the Mets, clearly fueled by the urgency, showed immediate signs of life. Francisco Lindor, leading off, set the tone. After a walk last night leading to a homer, he was clearly locked in. And then, the beast awoke. Pete Alonso, playing in his 161st game, showing incredible durability and consistency, stepped to the plate. You know Pete, he lives for these moments. And sure enough, he absolutely drilled a fastball toward the gap in left center. That ball went all the way to the wall. Lindor, flying around the bases, came in to score, and Alonso slid into second with his 41st double of the year, bringing his RBI total to a staggering 125. Just like that, baseball extra fans, the Mets were off to a fast start, a crucial 1-0 lead. You absolutely cannot fall behind Pete Alonso and challenge him with a heater. He will make you pay. This early offensive spark was exactly what the Mets needed to calm some nerves and send a message. The momentum continued as Brandon Nimmo stepped up. Known for his grit and ability to get on base, Nimmo delivered a bloop single into shallow left field. Alonso, after his double, hustled to third, putting runners on the corners with only one out. The Mets were 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position already, a stark contrast to their 1 for 10 performance in Game 1. This felt different. This felt like a team determined to seize control. Next up was Starling Marte. With Nimmo aggressively edging away, he went for the steal, and the throw from Hicks was nowhere close. Unfortunately, despite the aggressive base running, Marte popped up a high fly ball to left. Alonso, from third, had to hold up. Then came the frustrating strikeout of Jeff M.C. Neal, looking at a called strike 3 at the knees. You could almost hear the collective groan from baseball extra viewers and the Mets dugout. Leaving men on base, especially in a game this critical, is a killer. It felt like those ghosts of inconsistent offense were lingering. On the pitching side, the Mets had a big question mark. Clay Holmes was getting the ball, and frankly, no one knew what to expect beyond him, except for Nolan M.C. Lean. Everyone else was available to pitch. The Mets have a history of big Game 1 starts, and they desperately needed one from Holmes. And boy, did he deliver. He made quick work of the Marlins in the first, needing only 5 pitches for a 1-2-3 inning. It was a statement. Then, in the second, after a foul tip from Hicks, Holmes faced Ronnie Mauricio, making his first start since August 24. Mauricio looked ugly on a swing and miss against a beautiful Yuri Perez offering. However, Holmes continued his dominant run. He got a line shot that was divingly stopped by the second baseman, who flopped onto the outfield turf, popped up, and tossed to first in time to end the inning. Holmes was making it look easy, quickly retiring the Marlins lineup. Then, he got Troy Johnston swinging and missing at a fastball away for his first strikeout. He had now set down the first 5 batters he faced, a truly magnificent start under immense pressure. This was precisely the kind of stability the New York Mets needed from their pitching rotation. Back to the top of the order we went for the Mets. Yuri Perez, after giving up the double to Alonso, had settled in, sitting down the last 6 batters. But then, Pete Alonso stepped up again, and he did it again. Baseball extra fans, He drove a ball deep to left field, back when Hernandez to the warning track, and it was out of here. Pete Alonso, with his 38th home run of the year. It was 2-0 New York, and the place absolutely erupted. Pete just loves slugging against this Marlins team, and he was single-handedly trying to deliver the offensive blows today. Now with 38 homers, 126 RBIs, and 80 extra base hits, the Mets fans, who had packed the stadium like Citi Field South, were on their feet, hoping this was the spark that would ignite a wild-card run. But then, the Marlins finally got their first base runner, a high and tight miss leading to a walk. Edwards then rocketed a ball up the middle for a base hit, giving Miami its first hit of the day. A two-out walk and a hit. Suddenly, the Marlins had life. But Jeff M.C. Neal, showing off his defensive prowess, shuffled to his right, made the throw, and got the runner by a stride, retiring the side. A beautiful play to preserve the lead. The game settled into a pitching duel. Starling Marte led off, but Perez got him swinging on a sweeper for a strikeout. However, Perez then walked Alvarez, bringing up Ronnie Mauricio with 2 outs. Mauricio, swinging at a curveball in the dirt, was swiped in the tag by Hicks, ending the inning. Clay Holmes, meanwhile, continued his big-time inning, keeping it 2-0 in the fourth. He was being incredibly efficient, allowing him to stay in the game longer than perhaps anyone expected. Yuri Perez, on the other hand, was piling up the strikeouts. He got Tyrone Taylor for another K, his 8th of the game. Then, a slider bearing low and in, and Perez had a huge smile on his face. 9 strikeouts, matching his season high. He followed that up by getting Soto with a check swing on a low changeup for his 10th punch-out, tying his career high. Perez was truly bouncing back beautifully after Alonso's home run, showcasing why he's such a formidable presence on the mound. This was a classic pitcher's duel, keeping everyone on the edge of their seats. You wouldn't have predicted Clay Holmes still being out there in the 5th inning when this game began, but his efficiency through the first 4 innings earned him the chance. He continued to impress, getting another strikeout with a sweeper, his 2nd of the game. But then, the pressure mounted. 2 back-to-back 2-out walks, and suddenly, the Marlins had the tying runs on base. Holmes had to get out of this inning. There was no other option. As a pitcher, in a must-win game, you have to get that out. And he did. Edwards hit a ground ball, and MC Neal was right there to make the play, retiring the side. Clay Holmes was done, receiving vigorous pats on the back from his teammates. What an extraordinary performance, delivering exactly what the Mets needed when they needed it most, joining the likes of legends like Maine and Santana with big games on the line. Meanwhile, Yuri Perez was still dealing. He issued a leadoff walk, but then struck out Brandon Nimmo, his 11th strikeout, a new career high for him. He spun a slider down below the zone, got Nimmo to bite, and was clearly happy, high-fiving his teammates. This battle of the aces was living up to the hype. With 2 outs and a man in scoring position, the Mets had another crucial opportunity. Nimmo and Mark couldn't bring in the runner earlier, but Jeff M.C. Neal stepped up, determined to make amends. And he did. M.C. Neal pulled a ball down the line for a base hit that rolled to the wall. That brought Alonso in with the 3rd Mets run. Jeff M.C. Neal finally got the payoff with an RBI double, making it 3-0 New York. This was a massive swing with 2 outs, providing some much-needed breathing room. The Mets fans, thousands of them standing on the first base side in the lower deck, were absolutely electric. This was truly Citi Field South today. The offense, though not prolific, was delivering key hits when they mattered most. Holmes had given the Mets an extraordinary performance, and now the offense was starting to provide the support he deserved. Facing the second-to-last day against the Marlins, with the season on the line, the Mets were showing heart. Clay Holmes continued his remarkable outing. He got a curveball bounce down to first, handled by Alonso, and the throw was on target for the 3-1 out. Then, he bounced one to short, his 10th ground ball out, his 3rd in a row. 6 scoreless innings for Clay Holmes, 11 ground ball outs, a magnificent performance in the clutch. A masterful 77-pitch, 6-inning shutout outing was in the books. What an effort. He left the mound to a roaring ovation, having put the Mets in a fantastic position. But with a slim 3-0 lead, the bullpen was now critical. The pressure shifted. Who would Carlos Mendoza turn to? Every decision, every reliever, would be under the microscope. This was the moment for the Mets bullpen to rise to the occasion, to hold off a Marlins team that was still looking for a spark. In the 7th, Mauricio led off with a single, a leadoff base hit for him. He then gave himself up, pushing a bunt to the first baseman. A smart heads-up play to advance the runner. The Marlins, looking for their own offense, crushed a ball to the warning track in center, just left of straightaway center. Then, Juan Soto, a lefty, came in, and he was walked on ball 4. The ball came hard off the backstop, so Mauricio held at second. And with that walk, Soto tied the Mets club record with his 125th free pass of the year, a monumental achievement, but also a chance for the Mets to break this game open even further. Unfortunately, they swung and missed at a fastball for strike 3. The Mets left first and second in the 7th, another missed opportunity to really put the game out of reach. These are the kinds of plays that can come back to haunt you in a playoff race. The bullpen stepped up next. Riley came on to try and hold the lead in the 7th. After a quick 0-2 count, he got a ball in the air to right field. Soto eased back a couple of strides and made the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Riley in the bottom of the 7th. Solid work from the reliever, keeping the Marlins at bay. Then, the Mets turned the pitching over to Tyler Rogers. You bring a guy in for defense, and what happens? The first 2 balls are hit right to him, and he handles them with no problem. Then, with a 1-2 count, he got a swinging strikeout, retiring the side. Tyler Rogers delivered a 1-2-3/8 inning. The bullpen was holding strong, each pitcher doing their part, showing exactly why a deep bullpen is so crucial in these high-stakes games. The tension remained, but the Mets were managing it with strong pitching. In the top of the 9th, Soriano, a right-hander, came on to pitch for Miami. The Mets had done some damage against him in the past, having given up 10 earned runs in 4 previous games. And sure enough, the Mets started to break through again. A broken bat looper went into center field for a base hit, and Alvarez wound up at first base. 1 out, 1 on. Tyrone Taylor then smacked one into center field for a base hit, pushing Alvarez into scoring position. Now, it was Francisco Linder's chance to break the game open. And he did. He hit one on the ground, a base hit to third, and Alvarez was waved home. Taylor went to third. Francisco Linder, with an RBI single, made it 4-0 New York. That's RBI number 86 for Linder. And now the Mets had a little more breathing room. The fans were roaring. Then, once Soto took off, and with a wild pitch, Taylor scored. Taylor came home to make it 5-0. And with that walk, Soto broke the Mets club record as 126th walk of the season, one more than John Ollard had in 1998. The Marlins had no other option. The walk loaded the bases, setting up another chance for Mart. Even with a 5-run lead, Carlos Mendoza was taking no chances. He was going right to Edwin Diaz. The king, no messing around, no hesitation. This was a statement. When you bring in Diaz in a game like this, you're sending a message. This game is over. Diaz, as expected, came in and immediately got a swing and a miss, striking out the first batter of the night. That one was right by him, a devastating slider. Then, a ball was hit in the air to left field, and Nimmo retreated to the warning track and made the catch. 2 down. The Marlins were down to their final out. This was reminiscent of the Mets' combined no-hitter against the Phillies in 2022, a game Edwin Diaz also finished. The parallels were undeniable. The air was electric, anticipation building for the final out. And then it happened. A ground ball. Diaz had it, and the ball game was over. With their backs against the wall, facing elimination, the Mets secured a must-win victory. A combined one-hitter, brilliant pitching by Clay Holmes and the bullpen, complemented by Pete Alonso's great offensive day. The Mets stay alive into the final day of the season, beating the Marlins 5-0. What a performance! From the early offensive spark to the masterful pitching, every player contributed to this epic win. This wasn't just a victory, it was a statement, a demonstration of resilience, grit, and unwavering determination. For baseball extra fans, this is the kind of Mets baseball we live for, a team fighting until the very last out. This game highlighted the incredible synergy between a dominant starter and a lockdown bullpen. Let's take a moment here on Baseball Extra to truly appreciate what we just witnessed. Clay Holmes' performance was nothing short of heroic, stepping up in the biggest game of the season. With the entire weight of the team on his shoulders, he delivered a gem, 6 scoreless innings, 77 pitches. That's the kind of gritty performance that defines a season. And the bullpen? Riley, Rogers, and then the king, Edwin Diaz. Absolutely lights out. They shut down any hope the Marlins had. Offensively, Pete Alonso was the engine, his double and home run providing the crucial early runs. But let's not forget Francisco Linder and Jeff M.C. Neal's clutch RBI hits that extended the lead and gave the Mets that much-needed breathing room. Even the defensive plays, like M.C. Neal's shovel to first, were instrumental. Every single player contributed. This was a team effort, pure and simple. And what does it mean for the playoff race? It means the dream is still alive. The pressure cooker continues for the final day of the season. The Mets did their part. Now they wait and see what happens with the Reds. This win sets up an epic conclusion to the regular season. Looking back, what were the defining moments for Baseball Extra? Clearly, Pete Alonso's 38th home run was a thunderclap that electrified the stadium and cemented the lead. Clay Holmes' ability to work out of those two-out walk jams was another turning point, showcasing his mental toughness. Yuri Perez's impressive strikeout numbers, tying his career high with 11 punch-outs, despite giving up the early runs, highlighted the caliber of pitching in this game. It was a true battle between two determined teams. And let's give a special shout-out to Juan Soto, whose record-breaking 126th walk is an individual achievement that shouldn't be overlooked, even in a loss. It speaks to his plate discipline and how opposing teams fear his bat. This game wasn't just about winning, it was about demonstrating resilience, something the Mets will carry into whatever comes next. The strategic decisions by Carlos Mendoza, particularly bringing in Diaz early to lock it down, showed a manager fully committed to winning this crucial game. So, Baseball Extra fans, where do we go from here? The Mets have done everything they can do in this game. They've pushed it to the very last day of the regular season. The playoff picture remains tantalizingly close. Tomorrow will be another day of high anxiety and intense baseball. Whether they make it or not, this game, this performance proved that this Mets team has fight. They dug deep, they delivered when it counted, and they gave their fans a reason to believe. The roller coaster season culminates in one final day of suspense. We'll be here on Baseball Extra to break down every moment, every scenario, and every pitch as the drama unfolds. What a ride it's been, and what an incredible way to approach the final game. We've seen growth, we've seen struggle, and we've seen moments of pure brilliance, like today's collective effort. The future of the Mets' playoff journey hangs in the balance, making tomorrow a must-watch for every baseball enthusiast. What an unforgettable game for the New York Mets. If you love this deep dive and the incredible story of their must-win victory, make sure to show your support. Hit that like button right now. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Baseball Extra so you don't miss any of our exclusive content, in-depth analysis, and breaking news as the playoff race heats up. Your support helps us bring you more of the baseball action you love. Join the Baseball Extra community and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What was your favorite moment from this game? Until next time, this is Baseball Extra, signing off.